In healthy tissues, the cells are where they're supposed to be, and they're very symmetrical. This is a schematic of columnar epithelium. You can see the symmetry of the cells. If the cells move asymmetrically and produce a mass, I'll say that again, they're symmetrical, but they begin to proliferate, then that's considered a benign tumor. If they become asymmetrical, then that's indicative that a dysplasia leading to cancer is underway. There's an asymmetry, and if there is proliferation and a mass forms, that's a malignant cancerous tumor. And so we're into our study on oncology. You can see the literal definition here. I'm not going to emphasize that. I do want to say that our study of oncology is pertaining to cancerous malignancies. There's over 200 different types of cancer. Descriptors of the term malignant. You see the literal definition is ill-disposed. The more virulent forms of disease are those tending to become worse and cause death. So if we say a virulent cancer, this really is indicating that it's a disease that is rapidly progressing and leading to compromise of the organism. And as I indicated to you, that it's possible to have a mass because the cells are irregular. The cells are still identifiable as columnar epithelium, but they've increased in size, taking up space as a tumor, but it's a benign tumor. When there's asymmetry, that's called anaplasia, and the malignancy indicates that it's metastasizing or spreading to other organ systems. So, make sure that we've got clarity. A neoplasm is a tumor. It could be a benign tumor, not cancerous, not spreading, and has typical symmetry for tissues in that particular locality of the body. All cancers are neoplastic, but all neoplasms are not cancer. So a neoplasm is a tumor. A malignancy could be a type of cancer known as a lymphoma, carcinoma, sarcoma, hematopoietic tumor. A benign tumor is not a cancerous tumor. I really believe this communicates the progression of pathology that leads to cancer. It begins as dysplasia, dys meaning ill or bad. The first indication that the cells are changing is that it begins with one cell becoming misshapen or out of symmetry with its surrounding neighbors, just one cell. Anaplasia is where there's a crescendoing of the numbers of misshapen cells. Very often, or the progression then is in this direction, leading to hyperplasia, where more and more cells are being produced. Cancer is typically a disease of the proliferation of cells. So when you look at this man's hypertrophy or hyperplasia of his thyroid gland, you wouldn't miss this, would you? This is either a result of too much, it's either a hypothyroid or a hyperthyroid, could be either one, and we'll study the endocrine system here coming up. But that's a manifestation of a hyperplasia. So in this cancer cascade, dysplasia to hyperplasia, and then to cancer in situ. Right here is an example of there's cancer present, but it's confined in a locality called cancer in situ. It's in one particular locality. And then when the cancer breaks through cell membrane, it becomes invasive. It goes to other organ systems and becomes metastatic. So dysplasia, this is a review, begins with metaplasia, one cell involved, and progresses to anaplasia, where there's a loss of cell differentiation. Now, cancerous tumors can be defined as primary site of origin, in other words, where the dysplasia begins and from whence the metastatic spread of that. This can be analyzed because when it becomes metastatic, the beginnings of the cancer started in one locality. That's considered the seed, and it spreads to the soil, which would be distant tissues. Well, actually, in biopsy of secondary sites, cells from the primary site of origin will be found. So if an ovarian cancer occurs, it's possible with metastasis to the lungs, the brain, or the vertebrae, they'll find uterine tissues or ovarian tissues in those distant localities. Etiologies of cancer include what you'd expect. I think you show up knowing many of these risk factors. As we head to the different organ systems, we'll study in depth who's predisposed and who has a good prognosis based upon the type of cancer and the locality of cancer, or maybe I'll say the cause, which is the etiology of cancer. And you can look this list over on the PowerPoint, which is available to you on eClass. Early warning signs of cancer include here. Don't need to read a list to you. I think being alert to these things, it would be that you would have a sensitivity or an awareness. I just think about a new lump. What lumps should concern us? The lumps that are not painful, the lumps that have materialized and are continuing to grow. If the lump is a lymph node, that would be called lymphadenitis. If that lymph node is hard and matted, it's difficult to move it around and it's not painful, that is a referral to the doctor for sure. When we get to dermatology, we'll talk about changes in nevus. A nevus is a beauty mark or a mole. And then persisting through these, we'll touch on all of these in the various organ systems, and you can check those out. You know that the staging of cancers are variable. Each medical guild determines how to stage the cancers of the organ systems where they are the specialists. It just so happens that in the breast cancer staging, it's by actual stages, and this is available to you again to see. It's the TMN, tumor, I'll do it again, TNM, tumor, node, and metastasis. And for each stage, there are thresholds for how large the tumor is, how many nodes are involved, and whether it's metastasized or not. Sometimes staging is strictly not by 0 through, in this particular case, 4, but it's by it'll be a different system that is a strict T and M, and I'll show that to you in class, where T gets a subscript number to help you know how large the tumor is. The nodes, are there enlarged lymph nodes, lymphadenopathy, that'll get a number, and then metastasized, is it metastasized or not. I would like you to go to the PowerPoint presentation, and on slide 16 you'll get to see a video of the sentinel node that's identified. This is a woman who has breast cancer, and there needs to be an objective assessment as to where the drainage of that cancer is being accommodated in the lymphatic system. Dye, a radionuclear dye, is injected, and then the flow that is draining that cancer will be identified. I think that's worthwhile for you to be alert to. At this point, that's a beginning, and want to encourage you to be a student of oncology. Yeah, and knowing the language and knowing the varieties of cancer is where our study is in now. And then I'm reiterating that in each of the subsequent regional areas where we study, all of them impacted by cancer, will go into more specificity. Bless you. Bye.